Hands where I can see him, Ash. You're being detained for illegal Pokemon fights and cruelty.
Look, it's not what it looks
Don't
like.
move.
Go. Hey.
Stop! He's running! Get back here! Down!
Oh, okay.
Hands behind your back!
Oh, okay.
I've got the Pikachu secure.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. Timestamps are located in the description box below, and they're also located in the pinned comment section below. Oh man, this is bad. This is bad. This is really bad. NXT did not just own AEW, they annihilated AEW. We'll get to that in a minute because there are more things that I want to talk about just to keep things more into context, but we'll get to that in a minute. Kota Ibushi and his injury, we're going to talk about the severity of that because that's not looking good. Also, pile on to the people who are already injured in AEW at the moment. Brie Bella and Mick Foley go full retard. We'll get to that in a moment as well. And it looks like Dave Meltzer is also starting to notice the lunacy that's currently happening in AEW at the moment. And we're not even talking about the numbers in regards to his reaction. So without further ado, follow along with me with this breaking news of NXT completely destroying AEW. This is craziness. This is actually fucking bizarre. This is bizarre. So this was reported on via Raj Giri. WWE NXT crushed AEW Dynamite last night head-to-head using the old panel-only system. We'll get to that in a minute though. And total viewers, NXT more than doubled Dynamite, with NXT ended up doing 685,000 in total viewership with a 0.14 in the 18 to 49 demographic. And Dynamite, get this, doing 301,000 viewers with a 0.07 in the 18 to 49 demographics. These aren't fast nationals, these are the numbers using the old Nielsen panel only methodology. So these would have been the final numbers 2 weeks ago, but Nielsen switched to the big data plus panel system that we talked about last night a couple of weeks ago, and those numbers should be out later today. It will be interesting to see how those differ from the panel only system, which does not look like it's good news for Dynamite at all. Because if we actually go off of the pattern that we've been seeing these past couple of weeks, their number gets dragged even further down when accounting the big data system as well, when combining it all together. This looks like it's going to be incredibly fucking tragic. Now, the only reason why I'm reporting on it because I was waiting to hear some type of corroboration from guys like Meltzer or Sean Ross Sapp or Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics. I was hoping to hear some kind of corroboration with them, but I'm presuming they only want to, actually talk about this once the actual, non-disputed full number comes out later today, which is their right and their prerogative. Unfortunately, I'm not a fucking journalist. I am a commentary channel, and I explicitly want to talk about the actual core dialogue in regards to this entire head-to-head situation, right? And when it's all said and done, NXT completely obliterated AEW. No matter what the big data panel system number combined ends up saying later on today, it doesn't matter. NXT demolished Dynamite, completely obliterated them, blew them out of the fucking water. The question for the final number later on tonight is whether or not AEW Dynamite ends up being way lower than what it is right now when it's already at 301,000. Because even, let's just say hypothetically, NXT also gets dragged down, which I wouldn't doubt. I'm pretty sure it's going to get dragged down as well with the new panel system. It's still going to there's still going to be this disparity, and conflation with what Dynamite has done, right? Right? It's still going to most likely be doubled in numbers. The question is, double the numbers in regards to 301,000 versus 685,000, or double the numbers where it's like 550,000 for NXT, but it's like fucking 200 and the same number as Collision. We have now reached that point. Mayday, in case of emergency, break the fucking glass. But I did go out of my way because I just thought the numbers looked so fucking ridiculous. I had to corroborate it, right? And I found two people who actually tracked this kind of stuff who corroborated the same thing that Raj Giri was saying, right? Here's this account from this guy named Steven Mulhausen, and he ended up saying, as expected, NXT dominated AEW Dynamite in the Tuesday night head-to-head battle, and he repeated the same thing, 685,000 viewers with 195,000 viewers in the coveted 18 to 49 demo, while AEW averaged 301k viewers with 95k viewers in 18 to 49 as well. So it's not like he's going out of his way to like source a Raj Giri. This is his sourcing as well. And then we have AEW Tracker, who ended up saying the same thing Raj Giri said, but to be fair, it sounds like he's just actually sourcing Raj Giri. But he did say, using the old viewership calculation, Raj Giri is reporting AEW Dynamite did do 301,000 and the overall viewership numbers. And then he went on to actually say it is still debating, or I guess he's talking about himself, is still debating internally whether to use the methodology pre-change to finish the 2025 ratings trend or switch to the new methodology. So he himself, who's actually tracking these numbers, he's not disputing anything that Raj Giri is saying. He is saying he is correct. He is stating that what Raj Giri is saying is the actual number. Again, the question is not whether or not AEW defeated NXT. That's not the question. They got fucking destroyed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The question is, do they end up even lower going off of the trends that we've been seeing these past couple of weeks? This looks devastating. This is horrible. And for people who are going to be like, well, Devontae, they were on Tuesday night. They were not in their normal time slots and stuff. Don't start that. Don't start that. They weren't in their normal day slot, but they were absolutely in their normal time slot. Don't get that twisted at all. On top of the fact that NXT has been pushing this or AEW has been pushing this for weeks that they were going to be in this time slot. And if you're aware that NXT is on, you're definitely aware that AEW is on as well. Don't give me that shit. Don't bullshit me. Do not bullshit me. People had better things to do on Tuesday night. People had better things to do on Tuesday night, man. They went head to head, and not only did they lose, they got absolutely fucking eviscerated. But let's take it to the comment section. Let's see what some of the people are saying. I highlighted 3 comments that are obviously butthurt AEW fans. I want to read you some of their comments. Check it out. This guy says, wow, you get to feel important and jizz your pants 2 ways every week, and it still doesn't affect the enjoyment of people who do watch AEW or the people funding the company, but it makes you a couple of bucks. Talking about Raj Giri, because this guy's absolutely asshurt about this situation. Yeah, but here's my thing though. One that has nothing to do with what Raj Giri is saying. Again, you're really getting upset at facts. I don't know what to tell you, but it doesn't really seem that way, because you say this sentiment and yet you're here disproving it at the same time within the same comment. You can't say that people are, it still doesn't affect the enjoyment of people who do watch AEW. Well, I mean, you're not a good example. Presuming you're an AEW fan, and judging by your rhetoric, I'm going to say yes, you are an AEW fan. And it seems like it's affecting your personal enjoyment, because here you are raging over the shit. Like I tell everybody who gets upset when I talk about AEW in this manner, don't get upset at me for just I'm just telling you what's being stated numerically, that's being presented and being reported. You want to hate me over that? That's fine. But you can always avoid the channel. I put the title in the video. I give you the thumbnail. I explicitly, for the most part, tell you what my anger or what my ire is going to be aimed at. You can skip the video, yet you choose to click on it. So clearly, yeah, it's affecting your personal enjoyment, but that has nothing to do with me. Here, check out this other comment. It's funny how there's always, and I quote, well, WWE had more ratings, or WWE has larger crowds, unquote. Which was the better show? Which had better matches? And then he defeats his own point, because before I can even answer this, he says, obviously a personal choice, but to constantly spew out statistics that have no value on what the actual product is putting out is a baseless argument, which obviously is mentally retarded, because, I mean, the statistics is spelling out the vast majority of what people thinks. Like, that's the point of the statistics. Like, the value of the show is based off of a conglomerate of people actually giving you that, right? That's why advertisers rely on the statistics, because they want to see how many people are going to tune into this entity to know what they're going to be marketing towards, and know, are they going to get more ROI or whatever they actually put into whatever company or whatever show or whatever entity to get more money back from that value that they're spending on that ad, on that slot, on that show. Yes, what are you talking about? Yes, if there are 3 guys in the forest fucking around and doing kung fu shit and awesome fucking, world breaking Guinness World Book Records awesome nonsense, right? They're in the forest and they're doing all this shit and I'm over here and I can't see it, then what fucking good is it, right? Like, these people, man, they're so fucking delusional. But here, I got one more comment for you guys. These people are insane. They're actually fucking insane. They defeat their own purpose whenever they try to argue stats or argue against stats, because they refuse to actually just focus on the content that's actually being shown to you directly in front of your face. This guy says, head-to-head only happens when it's cable TV versus cable TV, or 2 network TVs head-to-head. Literally cannot compare AEW Dynamite in 80 million homes to WWE NXT in 330 million households. Which is obviously, super retarded, because it's not based off of how many households, it's based off of how many households are going to actually tune into the show. And like I said last week, and as I've been saying for weeks, and it's been proven out when showing the numbers last week and a couple of weeks ago and whatever, NXT is still getting the same viewership number that it was getting on USA, which tells you that no one is actually tuning in that's new. It's just the consistent fan base that's following the program in itself. Right? Like, look at AEW Dynamite, right? With that logic of what you're actually saying in regards to the 80 million homes and 330 million households, then why the fuck is NXT well below, 1% of how many households are actually getting to tune into the show? 665,000 viewers versus 333 million households? You can make an argument that NXT is dog shit by that logic right there, right? Because they're having okay, you tell me, right? Mr. Beast, right? He has probably the most subscribers of all YouTube, right? Like 300 or 400 million subs or whatever the fucking number is nowadays. Can you imagine him doing 665,000 viewers cap? You'd probably say that nigga fell off, right? Hardcore fell off. There are channels who are going to be 1/10th, 1/30th of what you actually are, doing the same amount of viewership numbers as you on a consistent basis. Of course you're going to say he fell off. You're going to say his videos are trash, right? So with that being the comparison of him being absolute dog shit and trash right now, then what are you in comparison to this guy right here? Like you said, they're in 80 million homes. Where are the 80 million people who should be tuning into AEW? Oh, that's right. They're not around. No different than the 330 million who should be tuning into NXT, but they're not around. So it seems like both of you guys are trash. But it seems like this one is less trash because you are not doing the same thing that they're doing currently at the moment. Again, it's nothing more than excuses after excuses after excuses after excuses. But like I said, later on tonight, we will have the final number. And if it's something incredibly drastically low, I will talk about it. I'm pretty sure someone like a Dave Meltzer is going to most likely give his opinions on it, and I'm going to be there to record his opinions. I'm going to be there to react to some of the other people's final consensus when in regards to the actual numbers in itself. But we'll get there later on today. But yeah, this is absolutely horrific, and there's nothing you can do to actually spin this around. But continue on with the next topic. So in more, unfortunate, depressing news, you can look at your screen if you would like to. Kota Ibushi suffered an apparent injury at the AEW Collision tapings on October 8th. During this match with Josh Alexander, Ibushi fell out of the ring off the turnbuckle and was checked on by medical officials. After some time had passed, Ibushi was stretchered out, or stretched away from the ringside area. And if you guys do care, it's not anything disturbing, but just to, corroborate, here's the video of him being stretchered out.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
And also, here's Tony Khan speaking on the situation, you know, pretty much just trying to reassure the audience that, I mean, there's not really much you can do after watching an incident like that occurred, you know, directly in front of your eyes. I mean, you know, it's professional wrestling. It's not ballet. I'm pretty sure some of the people in the audience, this isn't their first time seeing an injury like that. You know, things happen, but, you know, here's Tony Khan actually, you know, consoling the audience, if you will.
Most challenging sport of all when it comes to injuries, the hardest hitting sport of all is professional wrestling. Thank you for being so respectful, and let's give it up for Kota Ibushi. Thank you.
You know, that was pretty cool. I think people forget sometimes, you know, especially if you're a wrestling fan, you've been watching this for years. Some of us been watching for decades. You know, we're used to seeing shit like this, but, you know, you forget sometimes that people in the live audience, there's a good shot there's going to be somebody in there, maybe lots of people who are in there who don't watch wrestling on a consistent basis, right? And, you know, those people, they witness injuries, and, you know, how we witness injuries is going to be completely different from how a normal person who doesn't watch wrestling on a consistent basis, you know, witnesses an injury. Whether they actually freak out at the actual injury in itself, or like, you know, maybe they might actually be somewhat worried. You don't have to know a person to be worried about a person, right? So, you know, good on Tony for, you know, having a bit of, you know, control of the crowd and being able to reassure them with all the things in regards to Ibushi. But just to kind of go over what allegedly happened, this is through PW Insider. The word making the rounds backstage at AEW is that Kota Ibushi suffered a broken femur. There has been no official announcement yet, which fucking sucks. If that, because isn't the femur the hardest bone in the body? Someone can correct me if I'm wrong about that, right? A femur, that's your leg bone, right? Like that fucking sucks if that's true. I heard that is so motherfucking painful, bro. Like, again, if that happens to be true, because like what, the femur's not like the it's not like the calf, right? The femur is the upper thigh, or around that area, the thigh, right? I seen a cop video not too long ago of this guy's like trying to get away from a police officer who stopped him, and he ended up running over the police officer, and when he ran him over, he ran directly over his thigh, and this cop yelled so loud, it was like a blood curdling type of yell, right? And to know that he broke that bone in his body, that's not good at all, bro. And maybe, you know, look, I'm not going to pretend as if I'm so aware of Kota Ibushi's work. Of course, I know who he is because, you know, he's one of the bigger stars in wrestling today. So, of course, I'm going to be aware of him. But I'm not going to pretend as if I follow his career extensively. But that should tell you something, that I'm not aware of his work compared to other people who follow him. And yet I'm very aware of how many injuries this guy has sustained, you know? And just to kind of quickly show you, I ended up actually typing this out on Grok, and I'll leave a link down in the description box so you can check it out yourself. I ended up looking up all his injuries so far, right? And I'm not going to read the circumstances, but the actual injury and details, I do want to elaborate. And the year, if I could also, just to show you how far back this goes, right? Because how old is Ibushi? He's like in his early 40s right now, right? He's not too much older, if not the same age as Kenny Omega. Here, check this out. In 2008, he had an unspecified injury. It was pre-match. In 2011, he dislocated his shoulder. In September 12th of 2012, he dislocated his left shoulder. July 4th, 2014, he sustained a concussion. November 2nd, 2015, he sustained a cervical disc herniation. In October of 2021, he had an arm shoulder injury. In 2023, he ended up re-injuring the said shoulder. January 2nd, 2024, he had an ankle injury, right? December 2024, possible shoulder infection, right? And here, the broken femur bone. And actually, now that I think about it, with the, God, I'm actually going to say this, the head, the shoulders, knees and toes, with the concussion, right? And then the shoulders, right? And then like the actual femur being broken, Buddy has legitimately injured every major part of his body. Every limb on his body he has injured. you know, I heard, if I'm not mistaken, someone can correct me, wasn't he like retired for a little bit, or he was contemplating retirement or something like that a few years ago? I think he should probably, for the betterment of his quality of life, he should probably do that right about now, right? He should probably start to fade his career out little by little. You know, most of those guys, they're starting to go by the wayside anyways, right? I mean, the only one of that generation, I mean, I know Hiroshi Tanahashi, I heard he's going to retire next year, right? This should probably be the end for someone like a Kota Ibushi. The only one who's still around right now is probably Okada. You know, the guy who got the brain taken out of his body, the wrestler, according to Dave Meltzer, he's probably still around too. Well, yeah, he's on Dynamite, right? You know, guys like that. But man, this is, you know, it's sad. It sucks. You know, I know the old saying is it's not ballet, but, you know, after a certain time, you know, maybe you probably should, you know, recontextualize your life and say to yourself, after so many injuries and, you know, you're not too far away from your 50s, maybe it's best to, you know, hang him up. But just my opinion, though. Hope he gets better. Brie Bella and Mick Foley are now keeping on with the trend. The foot is on the pedal in regards to not keeping their politics separated from, you know, their fans, or separated from wrestling in general, because apparently they can't help it. Pop culture today just has to be overly divisive, right? The former WWE star took to her Instagram stories to share her thoughts on recent videos showing ICE operations, expressing frustration over the cruelty and division she feels the agency has caused. Because who asked for this? You asked for this. Oh, you didn't? Oh, maybe it was me who asked for it. Oh, I didn't ask for it as well. Oh, okay. Well, hey, low be it for me, right? Brie, please take it away. What were you saying? Watching all the footage of ICE is extremely disturbing. Our country is better than this. Power doesn't have to come with evil. Power can come with love. There are many different races and religions and cultures that live here. There isn't just one. This country has always been a melting pot. How lucky are we to have neighbors from all different walks of life? We all need to come together and love and support each other. God, we need to be united, not divided. Yas, Queen, snappy. Tap myself on the shoulder. I'm the best. I'm Brie Bella, and I have empathy and I have compassion. No, you know what you have? You know what you have? Tits, ass, vagina. That's the only reason why you get to talk, because WWE employed you for that reason and essentially gave you all these fans. Because otherwise, who the fuck would give a shit about Brie Bella's opinions, right? Oh, but it doesn't stop there. There's more where that came from, buddy. There's more where that came from. Because Mick Foley also decided today, how can I be a divisive piece of shit? Oh, I know. I'll make sure to alienate my entire fan base, because why the fuck not, right? So Mick Foley ended up posting this screenshot, right? He was like, so it's these couple of kids who were like holding up a sign saying, our parents are not criminals. By the way, yes, they are. I don't give a fuck about empathy. Mick Foley ended up tweeting underneath this, or giving a caption underneath this photo. He's like, enough is enough. It is time for a change. I'm not a nugget. Sorry. Remember when we were told these ICE raids were about finding the worst of the worst? But doing that would be hard work. Much easier to round up nannies, landscapers, day laborers, children, and grandmothers. Oh, by the way, I love how this guy's so inclusive. I love how inclusive nannies and landscapers and day laborers. Seems pretty stereotypical jobs for Mexican workers to me, Mick Foley. I sure hope you're not stereotyping. Cruel, but then again, it seems that cruelty is the point. If anyone reading this really has a problem with this post, I do. I would ask you to please unfollow me. I was never following you to begin with. If you are okay with what's going on, I don't really want you. I don't want you either. I love this. I love it. Oh, no. But don't get it twisted, folks, because Mick Foley has more to say. Check out this clever line. This guy said, hey, Mick, illegal is illegal. You know what Mick Foley said? human beings are human beings. End of story. That's a zinger right there. Yeah, no, I don't care for your quips and your slogans and your gaslighting bullshit nonsense. The guy's right. Illegal is illegal. You know, people who steal from stores and stuff like that, they're also human beings. And guess what? They're doing something illegal. You know, when you actually murder somebody, guess what, Mick? They're human beings. And guess what? They're doing something illegal. But that's fine. It's okay, because I love hearing from millionaires, people sitting on their perch, people with status to make money off of their name and who they are as a person, sit on their porch or their perch and look down on us peons, right? And suggest what you are going through in your life and what you are going through in your life and what you are going through and what you are going, what all of you guys are going through in your personal lives, watching people take your jobs, watching people take your spots, watching people come through and funnel in through in order to take your taxes and abuse the fuck out of it. No, Devontae, you have to ignore all those things, because little Juanito over here, it's not his fault. You guys are the land of opportunities. You know what I love so much about all these loser leftards over here who like to say things such as, oh, I hate America, America bad, America is the worst place in the world. Well, doesn't seem like it is when all these people keep sneaking their asses over the fucking border to come in the country, right? Worst country in the world, according to you people, but let the people come into the country. Why should we do that? Why should we let the people come into the country when we're the worst country in the world? Where's your empathy? Oh, that's right. Your empathy only lies in within how many likes you can actually get, right? Super principled, by the way. Super duper fucking principled. But like I said, I like it when millionaires and rich people who don't have to go through the struggles in life of watching people actually take spots from you that should be owed to you as an American because you were actually fucking born here. I love how they, who already made their money, who is sitting comfortably inside their houses, I love how they can just react to the news by saying, hey, that's bad. I don't like what's being shown and propagandized into my brain, because of course only America has to empathize with people sneaking inside their country, not any other country. No, uniquely, specifically only us. We're the worst country in the world. How dare they not let people sneak inside our country, inside the worst country in the world? This is how these people think. And to that, you just point and you fucking laugh. You point and you fucking laugh. These are cornballs. These are people who don't even have I swear, whenever I see people like this actually talk, it's like they don't even have a legitimate brain to actually think out things that they're actually saying. It's legitimately just group politics, right? It's legitimately just like, oh, that guy's on the left and he's saying this thing, so therefore I'm just gonna say the same thing he's saying because he's on my team. You don't even like decisively look at the situation and just like, I don't know, think for yourself and suggest whether or not it's a good idea or a bad idea. Not everything uniquely has to come together because this guy told you to say a thing and therefore that guy who's saying the thing, who's a puppet, is gonna now expertly tell you these things coming out of his mouth. Oh, now you have to listen to it and then take that side, and now that side is saying the same. Like, you don't have to think like that. It's so fucking sheep, zombie brained fucking mentality mob, follow the crowd, I'm such a sheep. My God, dude, like, and you're gonna let these wrestlers of all people, wrestlers, they take chair shots in the head for a fucking living. You think Mick Foley can actually think for himself and tell you, well, yeah, totally. Let the guy who took fucking hundreds and hundreds of unprotected shots, let him tell you what should happen inside your town. Totally. Mind you, I haven't even talked about, the fentanyl, the abuses, and I'm not talking about just abusing the government, but abusing our people, our citizens. No. I'm talking strictly about the people who aren't doing anything wrong. They're just here illegal. They're not doing anything wrong, of course. I'm speaking strictly on that. The other stuff, that's a whole can of words we don't have to open up right about now. But with that being said, Mick, shut the fuck up. Brie Bella, go back to, leeching off of Bryan Danielson. Continuing on with the subject.
I think the biggest issue with the Molotov cocktail and all of this stuff is they made a big mistake on the last show when they lit Jon Moxley on fire on the pay-per-view.
And he's fine.
And he showed up on Wednesday, and he wasn't even selling the burns.
At
that point, it's like, why are we doing bombs and all this stuff? Like, nothing hurts the guy, so who cares? Go throw the cocktail at him. He'll be fine on Saturday.
I just can imagine what they're going to do in an I Quit match, which I guess is part of the deal. You know,
that is what they're building. What are these wild animals going to do in this match?
What are these guys going to do? And they're going to do it, whatever it is, because Darby's completely insane. But, you know, I think that they need to rein in some of this stuff because it's just not, you know, whatever. It's not. I mean, I don't want to say it's not believable because nothing is, but there's like a limit, and I just think that, like, you know, knives and guns and Molotov cocktails and you know bombs, you know acts of war and everything. I don't know that they really need to be on a wrestling show.
Holy shit, folks! I think this is the close. I think this is the closest I've ever seen Dave Meltzer actually recognize that AEW has a fucking problem. I think this is the closest that we've ever actually seen him self-aware of what the fuck he's saying being absolute utter nonsense over the past few years when clamoring on behalf of AEW. Then he kind of reeled it back into, oh, I'm talking a little bit too much. You talk too much. You never shut up. Yeah. He has to reel it in a little bit because he's probably gonna end up, you know, saying things that his subscribers didn't subscribe to hear. Right. So here's him saying, yeah, maybe they probably shouldn't have, you know, actual acts of war on television, considering whenever you do this fuckery, the guy doesn't really sell it because, you know, you guys fucking suck and you care more about the theatrics and the actual moves in themselves rather than, you know, it actually spelling out what you're trying to get across and maximizing the potential of whatever's being done. And like I said, I've always said this and I will continue saying this. This is not strictly an AEW problem. It happens throughout wrestling. Dave Meltzer is right about that. Although the way he says it, you know, when he's like, you know, all wrestling is fake, you know, it's fake. That's just him giving some kind of, you know, cop out for AEW, obviously, which is fine as long as he's actually aware of how fucking dumb this whole Jon Moxley and Darby Allin story happens to be, how fucking dumb things like Anarchy in the Arena and then the super kicks with the thumbnails and the explosions and all the fuckery. I'm just happy that he at least acknowledges how fucking dumb all of this actually is. Even if it was just a slip up. Even if he doesn't want to go out of his way to actually deliberately say the quiet part out loud, we know what Dave Meltzer's thinking. We know. If you heard Dave Meltzer back in the days, he's always been a fucking mark, right? He's always been no different than me or you. He just puts a title on his head like wrestling journalist, and that somehow means he's separated from me and you. But he's no different than all of us. But at least he was sane. The things that he was talking about, as far as actually judging the matches, he can be harsh, but at the same time, it's the truth. It wasn't burying something because in comparison to something else, that means it's terrible. It was burying it because it was actually within the confines of what you're watching. Fucking terrible. He can watch a Stone Cold Steve Austin match versus something like, Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon at St. Valentine's Day Massacre and trash the match for what it is, but actually compliment the storytelling and what it's actually forwarding, right? But then at the same time, he can sit back and he can talk about Rock versus Austin and say why that was such a phenomenal match, even though it wasn't the same way of how you would typically judge matches like from Japan and all that other kind of stuff, right? That's how Dave Meltzer used to be. Now, it's just AEW does no wrong. AEW is the best thing of all time. Oh, this is a bad match, let's give it 3 stars. Oh, well, you know, because I want to be able to maximize how people actually look at what I'm wording to not really give a tagline like AEW is bad or New Japan Pro Wrestling is bad. So how about we take these star ratings and we stretch it to infinity and beyond? Therefore, when we actually give it a 3 stars and people are like, oh, wait, are you calling the match bad? You can just say, well, no, look at this 3-star rating compared to what I was saying a couple of years ago. This is also 3 stars. That's his mentality. That's the way he thinks. It's bullshit. It's nonsense. I'm happy that he's actually starting to see the error of his ways. Now, will it continue? Probably not. But like I said, we can actually have examples going back in the past now when seeing when Dave Meltzer, for just a smidget of time, was actually fucking reasonable. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below as to how you felt about today's videos. A bunch of things discussed today. How do you feel about Dave Meltzer having a sense of self-awareness for the first time ever in his fucking life? Well, probably not the first time, but at least it's the first time in a long time. How do you feel about Brie Bella and Mick Foley giving you expertise on how you should live your life and just accept things that they wouldn't be able to accept because it doesn't really affect them, so therefore they should be able to talk about politics that affects your life? So I see nothing wrong with that at all. How do you feel about Kota Ibushi's unfortunate, injury? Sucks. Hope he gets well. And more importantly, NXT destroying AEW. Gotta get your thoughts on these topics. This is what I like to call a big episode. Not bigger than me because I'm black, but big nonetheless. Like I said, maybe later on tonight or tomorrow I'll just include it within the talking points of the topics tomorrow. It depends on how I actually view whether or not I want to talk about it. I might actually include it. Unless it's something like crazy, I might actually just include it in tomorrow's news update videos. But let me know your thoughts down on today's videos, and hopefully AEW does not bomb anywhere worse than what the hell they were bombing already, or bomb worse than, Jon Moxley and Darby Allin as far as what they're going to do in their match at the upcoming Wrestle Dream, which I'm still going to review, by the way. I'm still jammering on right now. No more gibberish talking. And so, my name is Devontae, aka Millennial Smart, and I'll be catching you fine folks later. Deuces, and Ice.